This week, we're going to meet a man who used his bullying instinct to help win him some world championships. We'll get into it after I hit this music. Joining me this week is 12-time United States sumo wrestler. I call him Sumo Dan. Sumo Dan, how are you doing today?
Great. Good to see you, Tim.
Yeah, it's been a while, been a few months. It has been a few months since I was out in LA to see you.
What do we do there? All you can eat Korean barbecue.
All you can eat Korean barbecue, except this time I didn't try a challenge to try to out eat you like me and my cousin did a couple years ago.
Yeah, well, you're learning.
I'm still learning. Sumo Dan, before we get into our topic today, what made you become a sumo wrestler?
I think because chicks dig the uniform.
Nice. Well, there ain't much to it.
No, you know what? I wrestled back in high school, and I didn't do much after that. But a documentary called Sumo East and West, which basically showed the Hawaiians who were in sumo, the pro Hawaiians, and they also showed like international amateurs. And I'm like, whoa, that's something. I tried it, and it was pretty good. And a couple years later, I was the U.S. champion.
So did you have to like eat way up higher in calories to get that physique of a sumo wrestler, or what was that training like too?
Yeah, when I first started sumo, they're like international had lean classes. So anything above 253, which is 115 kilos, that's heavyweight. But I would cut down to 253 to be middleweight. And in 2007, I cut down to middleweight. I lost the middleweights, but I won the open weights. And I'm like, all right, I'm just a heavyweight. So, and then I started training with the world champ from Mongolia, and he was a heavyweight. He was 350. So I gained weight purposely so I can go against him in practice and hold my own against him. So yeah, I gained weight purposely for an amateur sport.
So what is the diet of a sumo wrestler? I'm pretty sure you can't eat pizza and donuts all day. I mean, it's gotta be.
You can, but it's not good for you. Everybody wants to know what the sumo wrestler diet is, and they talk about chakonade, which is a stew that pro sumo wrestlers eat. Basically after they train, they wake up in the morning, train for hours, and then their first meal of the day is this chakonade, which is a stew, and they serve it over white rice and just eat it once. They fall asleep, and falling asleep puts that weight on you because you're basically absorbing all those calories while you sleep. So you're not using those calories granted. So, yeah, so a lot. I mean, I was probably at 14,000 calories a day when I was gaining weight. Yeah, it was not. I could afford a protein back then.
Yeah, how many calories? How many calories was in that stew?
I mean, it depends on how much you eat, man. Like. But that's not what I ate. I ate American diet. I had my own diet of just a bunch of protein and a lot of white rice, vegetables. So yeah, I didn't eat pizza and that garbage. I ate, I try to vary my proteins and just load up on the different proteins throughout the day. And then that helps.
And that's the best part. That sounds like some good training.
It was, man. I miss it.
Yeah.
I'm like down to 285 now. So that's 100 pounds smaller than I used to be. So.
Yeah, when I first met you, you were much larger, and now you're like getting to be like a normal person size.
Yeah, don't make fun. Don't bully me, Tim.
You're not looking like a sumo wrestler anymore, Dan.
Oh man.
Oh, so speaking of bullying, what is bullying instinct?
Well, I think that's something a lot of people here on your podcast kind of don't understand is the biology of bullying, because there is an instinct. People have different instincts. Animals have different instincts. So sometimes there's an instinct to be aggressive. Like bullying is the aggressive act of being aggressive, right? There's a lot of definitions of bullying, but that's part of it is the aggression. And you have that aggression, you're naturally instinctive to have that aggression towards either your rivals, because you're fighting for resources, or even your kinship because you're fighting for resources. The runt of the litter is not going to get the food because they're not worth the resources. So a lot of times animals and humans, being animals, have this innate instinct inside of them that they don't know, So when kids are being aggressive, sometimes they have no idea why, because there's an instinct to be aggressive towards somebody they find as a rival, or somebody that they find as not worthy of the resources around.
Yeah, well, with animals, they're just trying to survive. They're trying to get their food every day. So that's kind of like their mode of survival. With humans, we define bullying on this show as purposely trying to hurt the other person.
Mhm.
Would you think people are just purposely trying to hurt other people, or they doing what they need to do to survive in their current environment?
It may not be that. It may be they had this initial drive, probably this instinctual drive to do that, but they don't know why. They're kids. Even adults, they don't realize that they're driven to do something, you know, biologically driven to do something. Like, who are you attracted to? You don't choose who you're attracted to, right? You have a drive to be attracted to that sort of person, and everybody has different drives for that. So sometimes you're driven to be aggressive, but you don't know why. And as a kid, you don't have a way to verbalize it, or you can't even know because you don't know why you're being aggressive. Like they're always asking kids, like, "Oh, why did you do that?" Well, I don't know. Well, that's the truth. Sometimes they have no idea why they did something. They may not
You
be thinking. So,
you do got a point, because I do have kids that come to my school where the parents say, I need to challenge my child's aggression. Like they're just got this aggressive behavior.
mhm,
And what we do as like, well, let's just say what we do, but we do as a society, we medicate these kids to tune that aggressive behavior out. I guess I'm sort of seeing where you're coming from. It's like probably that's just our natural way to act in maybe a certain environment. We don't know why we act this way.
mhm.
It's an interesting way to look at bullying, where because I guess I probably bullied somebody in my day too. I'm not perfect as well. Um, we have a goal we have to do to get what we want. Hopefully, I didn't bully anybody to get that goal. Like for me, again, my black belt. Obviously, I didn't bully anybody to get my black belt, and I can't remember whenever I competed for a job. So,
Mhm.
but I guess I am running for school board this year. I say I am bullying my way into the school board because I'm making videos that are showing the current school board in a negative light. I guess you can, but
Well,
I'm showing,
in this day and age, Tim, telling the truth is being a bully.
yeah,
Yeah, how dare you?
telling the truth. Yeah, how dare I? But I do it in a way where the video is already public. You can go online and look at these videos. I'm just taking those videos and putting them on my channel and giving my opinion on it. I let them speak. I give my opinion on it. But to some people, like, well, you're bullying the school board. I'm like, well, no, they said this, they've done this. I'm just saying this is how I would do it. But
Yeah, the
is
the
that
truth. The
bullying? I mean, I'm purposely trying to show the flaws in what they are doing, but I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I just feel that it is any election, right? I can't sit back and go, oh, they're doing a really good job. What can you offer, Tim?
Yeah,
No, nothing. I don't know. But it's going to be election season as well. We're going to see a lot of bullying, especially with the presidential debates.
yeah.
The Senate, the senators that come up. We're going to see a lot of that on TV, and those guys are pretty much. I mean, they're going to be a lot more harsher than me just posting videos of what I disagree with on the school board.
Yeah, I mean, you're
But
telling the truth, right? People are lying.
I,
That's bullying. What?
well,
Don't
it's
think of what
not.
you're doing as bullying.
Yeah,
Because if
no,
you
I'm
think of
saying
yourself as a bully,
people. No, people can probably view that as me being a bully. That's what I'm trying to say. People can view that as me being a bully. I'm trying to somehow come up with your thought bullying instinct, that drive to get something, to drive to win. And I'm trying to reflect back to my time. Okay, when did I have that drive to do something where I had to work hard to get it? But was it bullying? I don't think. No, I know what I'm doing right now for winning. Try to win school board. I'm not bullying, but I'm saying other people can view that as bullying
yeah,
as well. And I also agree with. I want to respect their opinions on that. You think I'm bullying? Well, okay, that's your opinion. I'm going to respect it, but I'm not hurting any. To me, I'm not hurting these people. They've already said this stuff on camera, on video. I'm just putting it more publicly out there, which is already all public. You just got to do a Google search and look through a bunch of websites to find these videos. I'm doing all that work for you and making it easier by just clicking my page and watching it.
yeah. But
But
did you ever think of calling somebody a bully is when they're not a bully is a form of bullying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You're a bully, Tim. It's like, well, I didn't do anything to bully, but they were trying to bully you by calling you something you're not. So
oh, yeah, I've actually talked about that a few episodes ago, a few weeks ago, where, the school board 2 members of the school board already attacked me already, and they, gaslit me, so if you ever wanna hear that story, it's called "That's Not Kind." Um, but, gaslighting is that's ruthless because you don't know what's happening until they throw it back on you saying, "It was your fault that you got treated this way." I'm like, "What?" That's that's crazy. So going back to kids having that bullying instinct, we talked about their aggression. For me, bullying is something that you do purposely. If a kid's not doing it on purpose, though, I don't think that's really bullying. That's just mental health issue that they do have,
well, I don't think
where
it's
they're
a
just
mental health issue
aggressive.
necessarily, just being aggressive. But that's it's not just kids. Like not all kids do it, not all adults have it. But sometimes you have this instinct to either be aggressive, and in order to live in society, you need to repress those instincts. You got to control your instincts. You got
Yeah,
instincts for a lot of things. Instincts to some kids have instincts to hide away, not be social, and sometimes if you need to succeed in society, you need to fight your instincts to be social. But you got to fight your
yeah,
instincts to not be aggressive when you're driven. And adults, like I said, adults don't even get this concept that sometimes they're being driven and the way they feel sometimes is just an instinctual response to stimuli. And it's like, okay, well, you can be angry at this, but you need to fight your instinct to be angry to succeed in society, I guess.
yeah. So, but calling it bullying, I don't know if you call bullying and being driven the same thing. I mean, it's still you have the drive to achieve a goal with aggression. I guess I'm not quite following quite yet.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I get angry sometimes too. And being a big man and back when I was a bigger man, you know how kind I am to not beat the crap out of everybody who bugs the crap. Do
Yeah.
you understand? There's a kindness there, and my instinct, depending on the situation, is to, uh, yeah, be angry.
I think it's almost impossible to see you angry. I never saw you angry before.
Yeah, I'm very. I hold that. I hold that aggression in, man.
So, going back to your competition,
Mhm.
you told me you have to kinda channel your inner bullying instinct to win.
Well, if you want to call it a
What was
bully
that like?
instinct, but my aggression
Okay.
instinct, part of it is, that's when the bullying, the instincts come in because we're fighting for resources. Sumo, man,
Yep.
you're in a 15-foot ring. You got to push your opponent out of the ring or on the ground. You're fighting for territory, right? So
Yeah.
if you have this aggression towards another alpha male who is in your territory, man, you can use that instinct for aggression to succeed. You got to tap, you can tap into that. You don't have to be, if you tap into that and you hold your aggression, like you said, you never saw me angry, and I'm not necessarily angry in the ring, but if I can use that aggression instinct to succeed at something like that, that's great, man.
So when you get into the circle, do you kinda think back to the times where people just ticked you off and you just let it go? Like,
No,
"I'm
I
taking
don't
this out
think
on you?"
back to other situations. It's just
Okay.
that like this person is in my space. This other person is in my space, and I'm gonna protect my space, keep this person out of my space. And maybe I have this natural instinct to do that, to get this rival out of my area. And if you
Okay.
can tap into that. Yeah, so no, it's not regressing to old memories. It's to more like tapping into your natural ability to want to get rid of this person.
Yeah. So going back to your first fight in your not your first fight, your first, like, world championship fight, um, do anything to get yourself, like, psyched up to 'cause I just like, do you have to get that aggression out at that point? Do you like when you watch like fighters on UFC, they'll like hit their chest or they'll like they'll do something weird to get themselves hyped up. Do you do anything like that to get kind of that aggression going?
No, I think maybe when I started sumo, coming into it from other sports, you're just like, you want energy, you want to be moving, you want to be get ready just to tap into the energy. And then, like, basically at my height of being a champion, I can tap into that anytime. I didn't need to warm up. I mean, warm up your body, obviously, so you don't get hurt, but I
Yeah,
didn't need to warm up mentally.
like mentally, yeah.
Yeah, because you still see guys wearing headphones and they're jamming the music and getting that, loud beats to get them pumping in that mood. But man, yeah, calmness, man. Sumo, like when I was at my championship level, I can get in the ring and as soon as I'm ready, I'm going, man. So
Now, sumo wrestling looks like it's a pretty quick match. How violent is sumo wrestling? Because obviously I'm not the one. I'm not. I've never done. I've never been hit by a sumo before. But
we can fix
like,
that too.
yeah, I think I'm okay.
Okay.
I'll
Um,
get thrown.
I
I'll
don't
get
think
thrown
it's
across the
violent.
far.
I don't think it's violent per se. I think maybe it's
Okay.
aggressive and it's depending on how you determine these rules. I mean, it's a combat sport, man. But like if
Yeah.
it happens in 5 seconds, that to me is great about it too, because my harnessed energy and bullying instinct, it's over in 5 seconds. So yeah, so
Yeah.
now you hit pretty hard because you want that initial force on your opponent. But as far as brutal or violent, who's to say?
Yeah.
It can be, but
I just don't know how hard those hits are. If we got like two big guys, they're basically just colliding into each other full speed as they can.
well, you
That's
don't
got
have
to
to be
be.
you don't have to be big to do sumo, but it helps. And now
Yeah.
losing 100 pounds, I'm training. I don't know if you met Zach, my training partner. He's like 450, and I used to be able to manhandle him, but not anymore, man. That 100 pounds makes a difference. Even having the padding on me to impact, losing 100 pounds of padding, yeah,
Yeah.
it hurts, man. So yeah.
Okay. Going back to kids with aggression, and you are right. There are some kids who are just, I think, naturally aggressive. What would your advice be for a parent if you had that kid who's naturally aggressive who don't want to take that medication route? Because I feel like that's what we do to a lot of kids. Or, oh, my kid's aggressive. We need to medicate him to calm him down. And I
Mhm.
don't know if I would call that. But we now you're not saying that's a bullying instinct, but that could be part of a bullying instinct, that aggressiveness. You're not saying your kid's a bully because he's aggressive.
Yeah,
Because to be a bully, you gotta purposely want to hurt somebody.
yeah, depending on how you
But
define it, but yeah, yeah. I think parents, and again, I'm not a parent, you are, but with all girls though, so I don't know how violent
my
and aggressive they are.
my not really.
Yeah, yeah. But as far as I think my dad, I was lucky on both parents. They wanted me to because I think I was smart and I made comments in class. I made people laugh at inappropriate times. They wanted to put me on drugs. My mom's like, no, there's no way. And then there's also when it comes to the aggression, my parents, we don't do that in this household. And I mean, my dad was like, told me and my brother, if you ever got in a fight or you started a fight at school, you got to come home and deal with me. We don't want to deal with them. Like we knew because again, we were appropriately punished as kids. I know some people won't hit their kids, but some kids need to be hit appropriately to understand at certain times you don't act this way. Your parents at home taught you how to act when you got in public. Because
You know,
when we went out in public, we were a reflection on them. So they can only do so much. Obviously, when you go to school, you act totally different because there's a new environment. Your parents aren't there. So yeah, kids act totally different at school than they do at home.
oh yeah,
We
times have definitely changed. I remember when I was younger, when I acted up as a kid, I don't remember exactly what I did, but my dad would get the belt out and his bare bottom, and it was smacking across the butt multiple times with a belt. And you learned your lesson. You don't do that anymore.
yeah, and,
Um,
and look how we turned out
today's
too.
fine,
Yeah, exactly.
but today that's called child abuse. You don't do that, and I'm not gonna tell parents how to parent their kids,
Yeah.
but I do understand though there are some kids who are just they're born and they have something in their brain that they're a little bit wired differently, where they just have this extra aggression. Medication, maybe putting them into some physical sports activities to let them learn how to start channeling that aggression, to let it out at appropriate times, like football.
Hmm.
Football is a very physical demanding sport. You have to run fast, you have to block, you have to tackle. Martial arts, is it can be a very aggressive sport. My style that I teach is very non-aggressive.
Mhm.
We're focused more on child development than the sport of it. I used to focus heavy on sports when I was a kid. When I was a kid learning martial arts, I was always about I want to learn how to beat this person. I always want to learn how to beat this person. So maybe challenged my aggression in a match. But
Yeah,
that
but
was actually after I found out I was good enough. My first tournament, I was scared. I was scared.
yeah.
I was scared to fight.
Yeah, but
But
as
now,
like, again, back as animals and humans as animals, sometimes that aggression, pride, that aggressive instinct is good. It's a good thing. When we're fighting off rivals,
yeah,
we're protecting the kinship, But as humans, we don't really need, like in our society, we don't need to use that. So we find channels to let that aggression out. I think, sports is a big,
yeah,
you know, and kids, like I was never a damn runner, man. I know some kids get out their energy running, but man, I was not a runner. So once I found like wrestling in high school, and it's like, okay, I get a little bit of aggression out, and got to use your body, you get physically fit, man. So I think that, and kids, especially younger kids who aren't aren't coordinated yet. Sometimes they need
yeah,
their body after puberty, their adult body to understand how to use their body. But once they do, and they can put their aggression out in sports or martial arts, something like that, use it constructively, that'll help. Out of your school, and I don't know what range you teach. If you teach the older kids, has any of them been accused of being bullies?
no, any of my students, I
Mhm.
mean, as far as I know of, usually some of my students are the ones being a target of bullying. But I do know some of the kids when they do hit that puberty age, they hit a growth spurt and it's pretty rapid.
Mhm.
Their coordination just is gone. They have to pretty much
Oh,
relearn
okay.
how to use their legs, their arms. They have to
Good.
pretty much seem to have to relearn everything again as far as coordination and balance because some of these kids grow so fast and
Mhm.
it's just crazy. I've seen these kids like, man, you got really long legs. Okay, you got to step a little bit wider now. This doesn't work the same way it did when you first started martial arts.
Mhm.
But I do think though kids who are aggressive, some of them probably do get called bullies, even though you are right. Aggression is a natural instinct. As if you look at it as if we're going back to the caveman days or like a predator out in the wild, you have to survive. It's just about survival. And some kids they could just be born with that heightened instinct a little bit higher, and they just don't know a good way to control it yet. And a lot of parents want to medicate their kids when really them in some physical activity and let them get that out in an appropriate way. And I feel some kids are just getting the short end of the stick. They're like, "Oh, it's a bad kid. He's got so much
Yeah.
so much aggression," and they're not. They're not bad kids. They just got that high instinct of aggression. They don't know what to do with it yet.
Mhm.
So, and I've seen that in my own school with some of these kids. And once they learn how to control that, they're like a whole different kid.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
but but I think if we start teaching these kids, like, hey, you may not know why you're doing this. You may be, well, we don't do that here. I mean, that
Yep.
pairs up with responsibility of the society. Like, at your dojo, you're in charge. You tell these kids, we don't do that here. Whether the parents say they can do it at home or whatever, but you're in charge there. And I think
Yep.
probably listening to your podcast, because I don't have any kids in school, but I think the schools don't do that anymore. Like back in my
No, they
day, the
don't.
schools said, we don't do that here. We don't physically hurt people here. But now it seems like listening to your podcast, the schools don't want to take responsibility of saying, in this environment, we don't do that here. It says rely on drugs or just sweep it under the rug so they don't look bad. So I think we need to
And
get back to that like telling the kids we don't do that here. And again, if people understand the biology, it's telling the kids, okay, you may feel like you need to hurt this person because you may feel that they're not of value in your group or maybe you're trying to impress other groups. So we don't do that here. This may be why you're doing it, but we don't do that here. And the kids got to learn. And then I think even for the kids who are being bullied, kind of get to know the kids. Like, what are their instincts, right? Obviously, you got aggression, but again, if they're don't want to be social, it's like, hey, understand that you don't want to be social, and that's an instinct. But sometimes in school environments, you need to be social, Or
Yeah.
I'm not trying to blame anything, but if even the kids who are being bullied understand they have certain instincts that let them act differently in a social environment, then they may be able to understand themselves better, understand, okay, well, I do have this need to hide away, or I do have this need to even talk back to the bullies. Sometimes I've heard of some bullies here's a good example. When I moved out to LA, I had a friend who was an old schoolmate. We weren't friends back in school, but he said, "Yeah, you used to bully me." I'm like, "What? Man, I never bullied you." He goes, "No, you were one person that I always wanted to avoid." And he's like, I'm like, "Well, why?" He goes, "You always made fun of me." I go, "I always made fun of you?" And I had to think because I wanted to be honest. And I'm like, "I didn't come to make fun of you." He goes, "No, but every time I said something, you made fun of me." I'm like, "So when you open your mouth and added nothing to the conversation or you derail the conversation, I made fun of you." Like, okay, maybe that's not a good thing, but it made me think, it's like, okay, some people think I was a bully because I would make fun of them for just being annoying, right? And then I'm the bully. So you gotta,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Ben would have realized, like, maybe I shouldn't say stupid stuff around Ben. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Then maybe he
You
would
know,
understand. And
I
he would have got my wrath of being made fun of. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it to attack him. I just did it to defend of his stupid.
yeah, I now that you said that, I do remember a time I was a couple years ago, when I was out in LA, I was on Fox 11, and I remember you giving me crap for my interview. Dude, it's my first time being in a large studio, being interviewed on a big TV show, and then I see you the same day. But you're making but it was a playful fun, but I understand some people they can't see that playful fun because maybe in their own lives, that's how everybody treated them that way. And I can see where he probably thought you were a bully because um, everyone treats this person everyone's picking on this guy that way, and that could have just been his perception, even though you didn't mean to do it. You were just making fun, giving him some crap. We call it. But
Uh,
I could see his point where, okay, maybe you're being a bully, but if you've been picked on a lot in your whole life, it's kind of hard to see that difference. You don't know what's true bullying behavior look like versus what is just goofing around. Like with you and me, obviously that was goofing around. I know that because you're the type of guy that would give someone shit for fun. And it's just playful.
I'm
Um,
sorry for bullying you,
but I
Tim.
screw you, Dan. You can't bully me anymore. I love that. I love that saying. Um, but yeah, I mean, I see both sides to it. And again, going back to where the target of bullying has instincts as well they need to use, that may be true, but we also can't blame the target for being picked on because some kids are just don't have any respect for people, and we you know kids need to learn to treat everybody equally, no matter if that kid's shy or not.
Yeah, no,
Yes, that kid who's shy, yeah, that kid may have some social issues he needs to work on, but it still doesn't give him a right to get picked on though
yeah,
either. So
I totally
yeah,
agree.
gotta make sure.
I'm just trying to help other kids understand. It's like, okay, there's an aggressive instinct. There might be a reclusive instinct too. And
Yeah,
if you understand what drives you, and like I said, as adults, we have this aggressive instinct. We need to fight our instincts in order to succeed in life, right? So if
yeah,
even the kids who are bullied understand, like, oh, well, maybe I'm acting this way because I had this instinct, and maybe if I act slightly differently, maybe I'll get more confidence. Or
yeah,
oh, I never realized that I'm separating myself from society, and I don't want to be separated from society, but I have this instinct to. I have that too. I don't need to be around crowds of people because again, the more people around, the more aggressive I get. So I don't mind being alone or having a small group of friends. But sometimes you need to be gregarious, especially living in Hollywood, or you gotta be around people sometimes. So,
yeah,
fight your instinct in order to succeed in society.
yeah. And another good point that I just thought of too, when we have talk about aggressive kids and not being able to channel that aggression, because a lot of these kids they go home and they sit on their damn tablets or video games. and they're not using their aggression. If they had that aggression built up in them, that video game's not going to help them get rid of that aggressiveness behavior. They need to be involved in activities and learn how to properly use it. And if you do have an aggressive kid, you need to start being a parent and setting rules and guidelines. What the heck am I talking about? You need to set rules in your household.
Yeah.
Like you said, we don't do that here. So you start doing that at home, and we also need the schools to start doing that as well. Because if you do it at home, the kids spend half their day at school and they can do whatever they want because the school doesn't want to shame them by accident by calling bad kids out. Not saying bad kids, by calling kids who are bullying kids out. They don't want to deal with that. There's no way a kid's going to be able to learn how to obey by the rules, I guess. I don't know if I can say this right, because it's not routine. A kid needs routine in their day in order for things to work. And if home life is good, okay, they have routine at home, they can't act this way, but they can go to school and act this way.
Mhm.
That kid's not going to learn anything. He's going to get out of the workforce, and he's going to, he's probably just going to be a little shit.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say a little. He'll be a grown adult because you can't act that way in the workforce.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there is workplace bullying, but it's
There's bullying everywhere, Tim. You know that.
yeah, it's everywhere. But I'm saying most jobs, at least the jobs I've had, if you were called somebody's name, and you get hauled to the HR office, which for kids is like going to the principal's office, and you get talked
What's
to.
funny though is like I've heard your podcast, and a lot of the workplace bullying happens in offices. And what are they doing in offices? Sitting around doing nothing. Man, you don't
Yeah.
hear any workplace bullying in construction sites. You know, they're all working, man. They're working hard, and even if they're bullying, they're just making fun of each other. But I haven't heard anyone in your podcast like, "Oh, I'm a construction worker, man. All my buddies my workmates are bullying me." Like, no, they're all doing physical labor, and but all your workplace bullying comes from the office where you're just sitting down doing nothing. So,
Yeah. People are just bored, maybe. They're just bored, they gotta do something.
well, I think sports and martial arts and even physical activity, working out, dude, man, use your body. We're animals, and we don't need to use our body because we've created this society where we have our resources are there, man. We can get food at the supermarket. We can drive there. We don't have to walk or hunt. You know, we can get our mates on on the dating app.
Yeah.
We don't have to hunt for anything anymore. So we're not using our bodies to do these things and collect these resources. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of lack of energy or lack of using your energy, stored up energy, whether it's good or bad, or if aggressive or passive.
Sumo, do you have any advice for parents who may have kids who are just overly aggressive? I know you're not a parent yourself, but you are an athlete.
Mhm.
And I should have asked you earlier, have you worked with kids at all to teach them sumo?
I've taught some kids sumo. I do assembly sometimes and do public appearances and teach kids sumo, get them in the ring, and it's amazing because kids automatically want to do that. Like you said, any kids want to try sumo, and they just line up. Sometimes they're there for an extra hour because every kid we're trying to give a chance to push us. They get it, man. But sumo to me is easy. It's pushing your opponent out of the ring or on the ground. Kids understand it. But yeah, kids love to be physically, I wouldn't say aggressive, but they want to be physically active, I think. So, what was your question?
I lost my question.
Have I worked with kids?
I
Yeah.
don't.
But
Yeah, have you worked with kids to teach them sumo?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a little bit. I haven't really taught kids like you in that situation of having martial arts school. I don't think there's enough kids that actually want to learn sumo or wear the cool outfit. Yeah, I think get your kids involved in a sport, or even like, man, if you're a dad coming home from work, just wrestle with your kid on the ground, man. Like I've wrestled with friends' kids before, and like come over and like, Sumo Dan's coming over. I just wrestle around. Those kids are sleeping by the time I'm leaving, right? And the parents like, oh
Yeah.
man, thank you. They get to crawl over you and jump all over you. You slam them to the ground, and they're having fun, and they're wasting their energy, or not wasting. They're using their energy to get their energy out. So I think if you can get a kid into a physical activity, I guess, and again, say we don't do this here, and
Yeah, rules and boundaries make sense, and then the fact that a lot of schools are pulling Phi-Ed out of the classes because it's budget issues. But you think about we're pulling out Phi-Ed, kids who do have that aggression, they need to get this energy out. but they go home, they sit down, they play video games. They go to school, they sit down, they listen to the teacher all day. Eventually, they're gonna pop. And then when they do pop, they're a bad kid because they don't know how to. No one's taught them the right way to use that aggression. So if you're a parent, you have an aggressive kid. I'm not a psychologist or a doctor, but I would first start looking at my home life. Is my kid active enough? Is he in appropriate sports to get him active, to get that energy burnt out? Maybe that would help, Dan. I don't know. I have 5 girls. A lot of them are kind of, they fight, but it's conflicts over stupid stuff like TV channels and whatever. Dumb
Resources.
stuff. Arguing over the resources.
Yeah.
And of course, Georgia, who's sort of the oldest 2.0, the oldest, because Jazz and Rihanna are older.
Yeah.
But Georgia's gonna be 6, and she's kind of the boss of her 2 younger sisters. And Nally is starting to figure out, like, I'm not gonna listen to you. And then it starts chaos. No,
Oh,
to Georgia.
Oh, okay.
And then it starts chaos. We got chaos in our house.
Oh, like for worse, it could be aggressive boys.
So Sumo Dan, if people want to find you, I know you have a tournament coming up this fall.
Stuff it.
Let's see that poster.
Olympia Sumo Championship. I mean, Sumo Dan is Olympia Sumo Championship. So yeah, we're gonna be
Awesome.
We brought this back to the Olympia. I'm trying to give sumo athletes and more opportunities for better quality tournaments and more better quality opponents. I'm working hard since I'm basically retired from competing and trying to give these athletes opportunities I didn't have. So, yeah, October 11th and 12th. I'll see who gets you out there at the Olympics. Yeah.
I'm going to be in LA. I think the weekend after that, I'm going to some St. Jude's event I've been invited to. It's called Hollywood Hotness. Oh, Sumo Dan, do you have a website for that event for people can look it up or for more details?
I think, it's not a website. You can look me up at on Instagram at Sumo Dan USA. I'll be posting stuff there. I don't know. I think most of the sumo athletes there, but we're coming to the Olympia, it's the 60th anniversary of the Mr. Olympia. So they're gonna have bigger and better fitness expo. Again, we're glad to be part of it, and we're bringing our top athletes. It's gonna be a great time. So,
you know what they should do? They should have the physique competitors do pick up a sumo wrestler, push him out of the ring, like a sideshow.
Yeah, we've done that before. I mean, not as a
Have
show, but again, you will see sumo and you see the TV commercials that are a big joke. This is the big fat round guy, dressed up in a diaper, and that's the joke of the commercial. But when they see sumo in real life, they're like, "Oh man, let me try that." They can see the athleticism. So yeah, that's one thing I'm trying to change, because we don't want sumo to be a punchline anymore. It's a sport, man. Like, I'm a 12-time U.S. champ. I took 5th in the world, and I've won many international competitions, and it's still a punchline joke. So
yeah. I just something I would never try. I don't know. I just don't want to be slammed. I don't mind contact, but I've seen your sumo YouTube videos that you have out there from your previous championships, and I'm one of those guys. I'm big, but that looks like I don't know if I had that fast twitch muscle in me where I could just shoot off the line and hit someone that hard, push them out.
That's what training's for, Tim.
I guess so.
No mercy, Tim.
No mercy. I do like the sleeping part though for training. That sounds pretty good.
That's the best, man. Take your nap.
Eat and sleep. Sumo Dan, I want to thank you for coming on today.
Thanks, Tim, for having me, and good luck with your election. I'm sure I'll see you before that, but don't be a bully.
Oh yeah, I'll be. All right, sounds good, man. Thanks.
Bye.
And for myself, you can always find us at our very own website, which is www.breakingbullying.com. You can also reach out to us at our email address. If you have a story of your own bullying to share, or for whatever reason you want to get a hold of us, our email address is breakbullyinghere@gmail.com. Now, if you're a victim of bullying and you don't know where to turn, there is online resources to help you. The first is the government's very own anti-bullying website, and the address is www.stopbullying.gov. And other online resource is www.pacer.org/bullying. Now, if you have had thoughts of suicide or of self-harm, we implore you to stop. reach out to the National Suicide Hotline. That number is very simple. It's 988. I'm Tim Flynn, and thank you for listening, and we will be back next week to continue the conversation to break the silence on bullying.